Well, the former Springbok mentor had plenty to share as usual, and he used some very colourful and interesting metaphors and analogies, and we couldn't leave it at that. So here's the extended interview with Peter de Villiers, the head coach of Zimbabwe.
And everyone, obviously, you speak of the culture within Zimbabwe. There's obviously a rugby culture in Southern Africa. And obviously, with what happened with World Rugby in South Africa not getting the World Cup, there was talk of how South Africa has probably neglected, African rugby. What's your thoughts on that? Do you feel as if more could have been done by SARU to extend their hand to African nations and help grow the game and get them to a level where they're just as competitive?
It's a really difficult question for me to answer because my principles in life is get your own house in order first. For them to go to any other African country now and who will believe them? Who will follow their structures? Who want to be like them? I think they must spend more money and time to get their own house in order if they want to make an impact and make people believe that they can follow them. So that people that they are better than the other countries, it's definitely so, but who wants to follow at this moment? And so even if they have the resources to help those African countries, would they believe in them? Or would they just take what they can give and go on and do their own thing? If New Zealand come now to any country in the world, even if they're wrong, people will follow them because of the results and because of their house sits in order and all those kind of things. So yeah, I would think that charity begins at home.
You said earlier that SA Rugby has taken a backward step in the last 8 years, even stagnated. What do you see as the reasons for that?
I don't know. I really don't know what the reasons for that is. It's just that I never went to university. I don't have a degree, but my child has. 2. We have grown in the right direction. That's my answer to you.
Surely
they didn't grow.
Rugby expert,
They didn't grow. If your boss played second team for Marties, and we all know that if you play second team for Marties, you're actually in the 5th team of the union. And you've been a guy who followed rugby, and Springbok is your pinnacle. Just to be there amongst them is already great for you. You know you will never earn a rugby jersey at any level because you're playing 5th team for. So now, let's do the second best thing. Just get close to the team. Now, if I don't have that knowledge of the game, what gives me the right to tell my worker, my coach, you're doing wrong here, why don't you try that? If you go to America and do all these courses that I did, the Olympics courses, and try to be up with the best, there's one thing that you do learn there overseas in America, and that is when an athlete outgrows the coach, upskill the coach. Because if you replace the coach, you take away the trust in the player that he has instilled already. So you have to go build now the trust again from step 1. They don't understand those little things. The technical committee in SA Rugby is being like an election. Who's left there? He's going to do the financial committee. That's going to be okay, you got 5 guys going to be the technical committee. What gives them the competence to be the technical committee? Those are the little things. Like, if you look at rugby schools in South Africa, that is giving us a big problem. Because the rugby players have been bought from 13. Where's the late developers? If you want to select your best team at international level, you have to have mass participation down there so that the best can really come out there. So there's a lot of things that they put in place that actually stagnated the team. The Varsity Cup, for instance. There's a lot of players who are so mediocre, who didn't make it, went to play in varsity. Now, they look so good in the Varsity Cup that they play provincial rugby. What made them now that great players if they were mediocre? So, we're fooling ourselves too much. We don't have a standard. We don't have a world standard. We don't know what we need in every position. We don't have the guys. We don't know who's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And the reason why they are number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And we can stay here for the whole day if you really want to know all the technical stuff. But don't challenge me on my competence and say, but I'm just telling you, I don't want to get into their household things. Because they don't want to hear it from me. If they wanted, they would have consulted me. So I don't want to get into the household things, because if they hear those things again, because they've got bigger platforms than this, they will say he's better, he's this, he's that, and then they will dilute the whole thing, because the weak-hearted will follow what they say.
Peter, but isn't that what the issue is that we're sitting with Springbok coaches, previous Springbok coaches, who are no longer in the system itself and are no longer being consulted, and decisions are made.
That's your answer? That's his answer. So you took in afterwards. You know, let me tell you one thing about life. As soon as you say, what do you know? Then you're the only one. And when you're the only one, then there's no other people around you. Even if they are around you, you just don't want to learn from them. If you look at what I had as a Springbok coach, nobody appreciated the fact that I knew what I had. And as a person, I knew how to work with them, how to utilize their inputs. If you look at the next bunch, you can't work with them the same, because you need to lead them. The other guys could lead themselves. But the next group, you need to lead them to where you want them to be. But you can't lead them from here, from down there. You need to lead them from where you left, so they can go bigger there. Now everybody went down and tried to bring it up. They are still growing, and they are getting much better. I'm telling you now. You can look where Springbok Rugby were in 2016. Look where they were growing, wow, at 100% rate. But that's where we left them, and they are now, the 100% is here of the growth.
You've been quite outspoken about the treatment that Alistair Coetzee has received. What do you make of, in the last couple of weeks or so, SA Rugby's director of rugby travelling overseas to chat to a whole lot of overseas players when Alistair was never afforded that opportunity? I mean, in fact, they made the rule that he can't pick overseas players unless they've got 30 caps. Does that sort of feed into your narrative? Does that sort of prove your point that you were making?
And that's my biggest disappointment. That Alistair or Heineke never made the time to talk to me and share my experiences of how bad I was treated, so that they could know, whoa, if we turn left here, they go in the right direction. We can't go that. They never, not once. Heineke, Rassie came with us to the World Cup in 2011. So Rassie were with the Springboks for only 4 weeks. And Heineke chose to speak to Rassie about 4 years' experience. And that made me think, wow, you're the luckiest person in South Africa. Because the system expected of me to be 3 times better than any other coach in the country to get the job. And today, when I look back at it, I can say 3 times better is 3 times better. That's why the other guys are still struggling, because they weren't. I worked so hard to become that 3 times better.
Is Rassie the solution?
Is he what?
Is he the solution?
I don't know. I think the solution is to go back to only one thing that Rian Oberholzer and Louis Late and those guys did put in place. They did put one thing in place, and that is that a percentage of all the sponsor money must go to development. I'm telling you now, there are white boys who are missing out on Springbok colours because they're not at the rugby school. I'm not talking about white and black here. I'm talking about development. All of us need development. Where you are now, when you look back at where you started and where you now, how did you develop, my bro? Huh? I respect you now for the knowledge you have. Then I try to get you where you are now. And that's what people don't understand. That our grassroots level is like Cape Town at the moment. No grass, no water. Roots are gone.